Welcome. Today we are joined by Stuart Schoffman, who is here to discuss his latest translation from the Hebrew, The Tunnel by A.B Yehoshua, published by Halban and available in all good retailers now. Stuart, welcome.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
So Stuart, how would you describe the story of The Tunnel?
A man who is grappling with the first signs of dementia. The neurologist says the way to fight it off is twofold. One is see if you can keep working even though you are retired and keep working in your field. And he says, that's so simple to keep working in my field. I'm a highway engineer. What am I going to do? Do it in a freelance way. It just doesn't work that way. And the other is make sure that you don't lose your passion, by which he means his physical passion for his wife, right? Anyway, he finds himself teamed up with a young man, a young highway engineer, and off they go to plan a road in the Ramon crater, in a magnificent, unusual geological formation in the Negev, in the desert, and they go there, and they encounter a Palestinian family, a father and two children, who are hiding out there through a series of circumstances that is so crazy that it really does mirror the unusual mental states of the protagonist.
How does The Tunnel differ from Yehoshua's previous works?
I've translated 4 books by Bully, and I have to say that I think this is the best of them. I really do. But the point that I want to emphasize, and it's terribly important, is if this is a book about dementia, and you hear somebody say, or you're describing it to somebody says to me, what are you translating now? Well, I'm translating a book, about a 72-year-old guy, and I can relate to it, I mean, I'm
40.
I'm writing, I'm doing this translation, I'm already semi-retired myself, and it's about the creeping dementia and whatever, and they go, oh no, I'm not going to read that, I don't want to read that. Oh no, you do want to read that. Because the book is so deep, and it's got so many important issues about the nature of humanity and empathy and love, deep romantic stratum. And at the same time, it's very, very moving. But at the same time, his great gift is, whenever, even as he deals with the heaviest subjects, there is always an element of humor.
And what do you think the main responsibilities of a translator are?
What I would say is this. There is an intrinsic tension, and this has been written about many, many times, and has been described aphoristically in many ways. But basically there is a tension between beautiful and faithful. Sometimes, often there is a trade-off. How to walk that tightrope between being beautiful and faithful. You can't always have both. And when you have to make a choice, I would go for beautiful. But nor do I believe, and I think not all translators agree with this, in fact this is an ongoing debate, that you want it to seem like it was written in what in translatorese they call the target language, in this case English. This book was not written in English, and there are translators who believe in here the tension is, or the choice is between what's called rather clumsily foreignizing or versus domesticating.
Right.
There tends to be more of a trend nowadays in kind of a globalized cultural consciousness to domesticate.
Right.
to make it sound like it was written in the target language, and to kind of obscure some of the origins of the text.
So in terms of foreignizing versus domesticating, I noticed that you preserve some Hebrew words in your English translation, such as ima or
yes,
abba.
I always do that. They're not going to say, "Hey, Dad, are you losing your mind?" No, Abba, Ima, no. And then they called their mother, he and his sister called their mother Mama. Because, she was the one from a Moroccan family, and they called her Mama. But no one is going to say Mum and Dad. It's just not going to happen.
And could you describe for us your process in translation? How do you begin and how do you work on a text while you're translating it?
I have a tendency to work quite slowly. And I always ask for 1 year to translate a book. And that way I get out a first draft, and then I can put it aside for a little while and just let it bake for a while. And then I go back and I revise and I revise. But at a certain stage, or at various stages, I read it out loud. And particularly the dialogue. I just want to hear the music. I want to feel the music. And this is something that David Grossman urged me to do early on. He said that he always does it, and you can tell. I mean, I think a lot of writers do it, but I've always found it to be very, very helpful.
Could you describe for us your relationship with Yehoshua and your process of working on the text with him?
My relationship with Yehoshua. Well, the first thing I want to say, and it is a tremendous privilege to work with this man. There are those who believe that he is Israel's greatest writer. He is certainly one of Israel's greatest writers. And I think he's a literary genius. I honestly do. And I feel it's a gift to be able to work with him. And we have a very good working relationship. Now, that said, I have worked with authors whose command of English is better than his. And so sometimes he will say, "Oh yeah, no, that's what I mean in English," and other times it's like, "I trust you. But there are times, where there have been times in the years that I've worked with him when I'm stumped, and this is why I like working with living authors. I mean, it's like there are essays on this subject. Is it better to work with living or dead authors? Well, dead authors can't criticize you. So it's all, but no. I've felt always just that it's a gift to be able to work with him. So one day I'll call him up and I'll go, can you pull down the book? We'll take the book off the shelf. Yeah, I said, okay, turn to page 84, the second paragraph, third line, so on and so. I have no idea what you're talking about. I just don't get it. I couldn't figure it out. So tell me what you're talking about. He looks at it and he goes, "Oh, God, it's a typo." And I'll say, "A typo?" He says, "Yes, it's a typo. This is what I meant." He says, then he'll say, what he'll say is, "I wish my Hebrew editor," he says it's in Hebrew now, he says, "I wish my Hebrew editor were pedanti like you." Pedanti is the word that he uses in Hebrew. And I'm thinking, that's supposed to be a compliment. Pedanti? But the thing is this, pedanti in Hebrew doesn't really mean pedantic. It means meticulous. And this is an example of one of those nuances of translation where where the same word is borrowed into the other language but doesn't mean exactly the same. And you have to really watch out for that sort of thing. Translators in everything I've read about translation, there are people that often point this out, that you really have to have an ear for the difference between the word is used in the original English and the way the word is used in its borrowed context.